Yeah, well, let's find out if they do give Akillathehun that Thoth one more time. Picks and bans coming at you. And after that strong game one, Noble need to regroup. It's really difficult coming off a 53-minute loss to get your head back around, but I trust those Noble boys to make it happen.
But that's just one of the aspects of being a pro player. You've got to learn how to bounce back. And if there's a team that I'm sure has plenty of experience with trying to handle their losses, it is going to be Noble. They are steadily progressing, and this is one of those opportunities to show we're not out of this just yet.
Kukulkan and Scotty already banned out those first 2 rounds of bans. No surprise there. Gatekeepers also banned out Terra. Now Noble have a couple choices to make as there are still some strong picks up. Even have a chance if they want to go ahead and take Thoth away to do that now.
And it will be the RDO ban instead, waiting things out to see what Gatekeepers are going to opt for. Last time we saw the first pick Osiris right away. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of run back from MandoWarrior, and sure enough, Gatekeepers once more with that Osiris. As
well as Akillathehun was playing, MandoWarrior was playing just as well from that solo lane side, diving in on the multiple members with his ultimate. It's not a huge targeter, so that's hard to do, making sure he can get as much disruption as he can, and Nemesis picked up for Noble.
Mando was really on point with those Osiris ults. It wasn't even just the cleanup kill factor, it was also the preventing of healing for Skeeledon when he kept trying to make numerous dives onto a kill on that backside. I do love the decision from Noble, though, to strip away that Ganesh, give it to Wubbn, take it away from Pain.
PainDeViande was running the game with Ganesh, but anyone that's been watching PainDeViande knows he can do it just as well on the Athena. Those taunts so devastating for setting up either burning beads or setting up damage from Soul, who really can't follow up.
It's like these guys are just trading out picks at this point. I mean, you've got the Soul locked in. This could be a potential flex pick to the ADC role or the mid lane, although I'd imagine that Akilla's trying to run the Soul instead of it being in the dual lane role.
Raijin locked in here for Noble to make sure that they've got plenty of magic damage on their side. Robin, also the ban out for Noble as well.
Raijin is a tried and true god that moswal constantly speaks such high praises of, even when he was not considered to be in the greatest of places. So really excited to see what he chooses to do with this god. And considering the presence that they already have in that mid lane with the Nemesis, a lot of kill opportunity at the start of the game.
Gatekeepers ban out Erlong Shen, so they want to be the only ones with taunts going into this game, or at least that's what they're signaling. Bellona also gets banned out, limiting some of the options for the solo lane of Noble. Don't want to have to worry about either one of those two guys.
And I have to appreciate that because Whalrus was controlling a lot of those team fights as that game was progressing. Even though it was reaching such a late game period, it didn't matter. Whalrus was still finding the important taunts, finding the important kills, able to box out DayToRemeber whenever he was forced out of his health bar.
Wowy picked up for Wowy. Wowy was helping out with those ultimates, but other than that, wasn't having a tremendous impact, but he does feel comfortable on this Wowy, so let's go ahead and run that back, and then Jing and Susano pick back up for Gatekeepers.
We didn't get to see too much out of Wowy's Wowy, but one of the things that we missed was he was bullying DayToRemeber pretty heavily in that dual lane when it was the laning phase. It was just once Noble started falling a little bit behind and the objective control became incredibly strong from Gatekeepers, they then had a very difficult time or Wowy then had a very difficult time as far as trying to control that ADC carry as well as he was.
And you pointed out, that's what PainDeViande was doing a good job of. When they forced the pressure other areas on the map, then DayToRemeber's free to rotate, and Wowy can't just sit on top of him in lane and bully him around. So look for PainDeViande to continue to do that with this Athena, who he chose to go ahead and leveled up that shield crash first. That's no surprise, but that taunt is going to be really good at burning beads. We see them already coming out for Skeeledon and moswal as well as Wowy, so he'll have chances to try and put those on cooldown.
Yeah, most players like to charge up that Athena one before going in for the taunt, but one thing a lot of pro players love to do is just walk right up to their target instead and use that taunt. It's just as effective, except you still have your escape after.
And that's something PainDeViande is able to do so well. We see him even with the sprint. More than likely just going to be used to help clear some of those slows from Skeeledon and the rest of Noble, but also could be part of an engagement to help him save that charge dash to get out of there. As again, we have PainDeViande starting here in the mid lane along with Skeeledon here in the mid lane helping out Akillathehun.
It makes sense because Grave is trying to force out as much pressure as possible into that solo lane side. Knowing that their buffs could possibly be contested, they immediately threw Pain into that mid lane to stop Skeeledon and moswal from rotating over to help out Whalrus.
able to clear evenly at least are Noble. That way they can come over and try and contest. This is Grave and MandoWarrior commit to it. Sprint does come out. Shell trying to help Skeeledon stay alive. Body blocking from Wobbin and Whalrus is good to force Pain and MandoWarrior to back off, and now they go back to speed buff to try and contest it.
Two of these things are not like the other though, and it's going to be moswal actually securing that speed buff for his jungler. Skeeledon praising his mid laner right about now, but that level 2 advantage that Grave and MandoWarrior just tried to press could have been devastating for Noble's jungle. Fortunately enough, moswal coming up clutch.
SPL Gatekeepers do settle though for those fire elementals and the mid harpies on the solo lane side as well. PainDeViande charging through, trying to put out some damage. He hasn't taken the taunt just yet, so until level 3 we don't have to worry about that, but Skeely getting some good return poke.
Skeely getting a little bit feisty there with PainDeViande in the mid lane, taking the aggressive pathing as well to the left mid harpies. And with moswal by his side, just trying to lock away that farm, and Skeeledon taking quite a decent bit of poke from it, gonna heal up off of that Oracle next to Wowy.
And one more time, we see Wowy getting the early pressure on DayToRemeber in that lane, so he's happy to run it back as MandoWarrior cleans up Wubbn over here on that solo lane side, getting first blood. But Wowy again bullying out the Jing and able to get those harpies.
But Whalrus, he doesn't have anything else to offer here. Unfortunately, still only level 3. Wubbn falling, and speaking of falling, it's going to be support for support. moswal actually finding the kill onto Pain.
And things were very low for them here in mid lane. Look at Skeeledon's health bar, but moswal able to get that kill cleaned up, no problem. So that's going to be one for the mid lane on the side of Noble. But again, MandoWarrior on that Osiris has a kill, helping him out against Whalrus.
Grave and MandoWarrior, they haven't taken their own buffs until just now. So these timers are going to be pretty janky. So any thought process that Noble might have had about looking for a potential invade is going to be kind of difficult since they won't really know when those buffs went down.
Very likely, though, we'll see SPL Gatekeepers on Noble's side of the map to contest their buffs when they come back up, since it's going to be a while before they have any more farm from MandoWarrior and Grave, at least on their side of the map. Grave and PainDeViande grouping up, clearing out a little bit more ways and heading back to base here as Grave. I think he's back in for the first time.
Best possible outlook for him. He might as well just get those boots online, have a little bit of physical power added on top since they are T2. And sure, it's not the full-on boots, but still provides some mobility.
Able to get all these elementals, or SPL Gatekeepers. Just one more small win for them. We're about 3 minutes, 40 seconds into the game. Only 300 to 400 gold lead for SPL Gatekeepers. So nothing crazy, just a little bit of that first blood factor.
That's the only difference in this game so far, is that first blood having gone the way of Noble. But it was MandoWarrior who got that bounty, which is really important since he's going to be one of the more determining factors of team fights in the mid-early game stages.
He definitely was last game, so I'm sure Noble will still have plenty of nightmares of MandoWarrior diving on them, ripping their souls out of them, and he's going to be looking to do it again here in this game. Already sitting 1-0-0, and here they are, local for that speed buff on the right-hand side. Not able to contest it, Mando just going to have to back off.
And again, Skeeledon speed buff being protected very well by his team. moswal making sure to be ready for that rotation just to provide presence. That's one of the best ways to stop an enemy solo laner from trying to full commit onto your buff.
And this is what we see when we have these two teams who play so similarly and who are so even in skill. Both these teams are patient and objective-minded. Neither one of them want to go too aggressive or take that 50-50. They're going to try and set up a situation for themselves where they have an advantage.
And I think right now Gatekeepers are looking for the advantage as Pain's lurking around this left mid Harpy section. Any point, he could just immediately look for that taunt in to Akilla's Supernova or even Graves Typhoon, and that's going to be the mindset here, already forcing out moswal's Purification Beads.
Gets the taunt onto both Wubbn and moswal, which is going to be very important in this game because Wubbn's the silence is very important at shutting down the follow-up from the rest of the team. So when both of them are taunted, they can't. But now Wubbn's getting caught in the Typhoon. Ultimate from PainDeViande. The Defender Olympus crashes in. They secure Wubbn. Whalrus is low, and he's still looking to push forward with the rest of his team.
That damage mitigation from PainDeViande just completely negated the Tycho drones from moswal, looking to burst him down. And speaking of which, Day is actually looking to take that boxing matchup with Wowy. Wowy able to just juke out the knockup, but Seems as though Day is actually getting the better end of the laning phase this time.
And DayToRemeber didn't have to commit his ultimate in that engagement, so he does have the advantage as Wowy dropped those suns downs on top of himself, so he'll keep looking to push.
The primary difference here is the fact that Wowy only has level 2 boots and DayToRemeber has finished off his Ninja Tabi, but with assistance, it's going to force out DayToRemeber's ultimate as Wubbn tries to chase him down, realizes that he's not going to be able to catch up, and just farms out that wave of Wowy instead.
That rotation was very important, though, and Wowy played it perfectly to keep DayToRemeber around long enough. He is able to escape, but at least equalize those ultimates back out, so Wowy's not at such a disadvantage on that duo lane side. Wubbn, though, falling a little bit behind PainDeViande. He's 0-2-0, and Pain does have that one kill from his Defender of Olympus from earlier.
Wubbn has just been punished pretty heavily this game. The 2 moments where he's been caught out, it's just been a clean wipe up immediately from Gatekeepers, not looking to waste any time.
A lot of members from SPL Gatekeepers hanging out on this solo lane side, trying not to let Whalrus have an easy time of it. Pain does taunt in Skeeledon. The follow-up is there from SPL Gatekeepers, but Nemesis shield's better, keeps Skeeledon alive.
You just expect most of the pressure to happen in the solo lane side because that's probably where you're going to have the biggest advantage as a jungler for ganks. You know that you won't have to worry about an Aegis or purification beads, just the sprint. And maybe an ultimate that could have a little bit of an escape. Mando happens to have both, so he'll usually be fine from any ganks that tend to happen. Either way, though, we saw a lot of it from Grave in the first match where he was hanging around that solo lane side as a Nemesis, looking to burn out with the ult. Skeeledon could potentially be doing the same thing, just trying to shut out MandoWarrior.
Despite the pressure they had this solo lane side, unable to contest the speed buff or SPL Gatekeepers, they do at least come back and continue to get elementals and mid-harpies on that right-hand side. We even saw Pain kind of looking at moswal there for a minute, and if he had gone for it, moswal would not have had those beads, only just now coming back off cooldown. So if moswal gets caught out again, he'll have a chance to try and escape as SPL Gatekeepers look to invade this blue.
And Mando just full committing Akillathehun, immediately destroying Wubbn. Only got a chance to drop the Dharmic Pillars, but it's not over just yet. MandoWarrior is going to be able to get away thanks to that sprint from PainDeViande.
And Wubbn gave up his life there, but they got to keep the blue buff. So he was happy to do it, but that's just been the name of the game so far. He's getting blown up. Now Pain taking a whole lot of damage. MandoWarrior throwing out those tethers to discourage any more aggression.
It was a great ult by Skeeledon, but the only thing that didn't work out from that, he had no mana to follow up afterwards. Whalrus doesn't have the damage just yet on some Wukong. He had a couple of cooldowns as well from looking for little bits of poke, and so Pain just gets to walk away for free.
Pain happy to walk away, happy to keep on going. Not using his taunt like in his kit, but just taunting to walk away. He's saying he's happy, he's still alive. moswal and Wubbn cleaning up some of those back harpies. As again, SPL Gatekeepers have a 3-1 kill lead now, about a 1,000 gold lead, just based off those kills and a little bit of farming that they've been able to get from those kills. Come back over to clean up the blue buff, our Gatekeepers.
The global presence and the setup that Gatekeepers have on their side, thanks to Pain on this Athena, is just worked out favorably for them so far. They've been all over the map. Pain, in particular, has been all over the map, just absolutely stopping Wubbn in his tracks anytime he tries to even poke his head somewhere he shouldn't be.
And that's what it means when you have Athena on your team. Your team's never really in a true 1v1. Athena can come crashing in for you at any time as Noble established position over here on top of the Gold Fury. They're already knocking it down a little bit. Even committing the Dharmic Pillars here is Wubbn, and Wowy drops his ultimate over the top. moswal here, and he's up on top of those drums as well. So Noble able to sneak away that Gold Fury, and Wubbn takes a little bit of return damage for the trouble. Ultimate comes out from DayToRemeber, and he keeps going in, looking for more damage. Wubbn able to get away, though.
He's just trying to buy time for Gray to rotate over. Even though Susano is incredibly mobile, the only thing that Gatekeepers are going to be able to find is the red buff from Noble, that purple buff, not due to respawn just yet. And Whalrus, of course, just boxing things out with MandoWarrior. You expect the Sun Wukong to have a less favorable laning phase against an Osiris.
And again, this is what Athena can do. One more time, come over. And now it's a 2v1 as the ultimate's committed from Akillathehun in mid lane. Grave goes deep for it, and Defender of Livets comes out, but doesn't even get a chance to crash in. Skeeledon gets Grave, and moswal goes back to base as well.
Unfortunately for moswal, Akillathehun was on point with that Stellar Burst. Nowhere to go, considering that his teleport was down. And man, that was some pretty solid accuracy from Akilla.
Yeah, Akillathehun's been playing well, played well last game too. In fact, he's a big part of the reason why SPL Gatekeepers are up 1-0 with those final judgments. This time, SPL Gatekeepers are able to contest the speed. Dharmic Pillars, though, coming out from Noble to try and help contest their buff, and I think they are able to successfully drop it as Skeeledon does pick it up.
Skeeledon's got some pretty nutty life RNG working out for him right now. Able to get it 3 times in a row against invades from Gatekeepers. But now it's not going to be the same story for Wowy on the opposite side of the map. Pain just wandering on over to pick up his newfound purple buff.
And look how aggressive DayToRemeber's playing over there, despite last game where Wowy was able to get the better of him. This time, he's hanging with him, actually a little bit ahead in terms of stacks on the Devourer gloves. That kind of thing, though, not too surprising for a Jing win.
It's not surprising either because Wowy can't afford to play as aggressive as he was prior to this match. Now that PainDeViande is on that Athena, knowing that if Day gets too low, he'll have to worry about the Athena ult. Wowy's not going to look for a boxing opportunity unless it's under his tower or he knows that Pain's ultimate is down.
And despite the fact that the last game went 53 minutes, this game already in the early game feels like it's been paced out just a little bit slower after dropping a 55-minute game. No surprise that Noble is looking to be a little bit more cautious, and SPL Gatekeepers recognizing they have a chance to 2-0 and secure some much-needed points to get 3 here.
Considering the Dharmic Pillars, I would probably favor Noble as far as objective secure is going. It's very clear that Noble want to be the first ones aggressing onto the objective, considering what happened last game, where Pain just kept making those shot calls, securing all of that global farm objective.
Wubbn hanging out in the jungle. They have the 3v3 as Grave does show up here. So Wubbn, if there'd been any aggression, would have went for it. Pain moves in aggressively, and Wubbn tries to catch him out, but the turn from Akillathehun is immediate. Skeeledon ends up taking down PainDeViande, though, who tried to take the aggressive path to the jungle and gets immediately blown up.
That was a beautiful ultimate from Akillathehun. Just not able to find it. Skeeledon as well, his timing was perfect on that Nemesis shield, not only healing himself, but also finding the kill. And now MandoWarrior is in a place that he doesn't want to be, ulting away instead, but DayToRemeber's made the rotation, forcing Whalrus into his ult, as Grave cleans up 2 in the back line.
Grave was right where he wanted to be, cleaning up that double kill. Now Wubbn continuing to aggress on this side. As DayToRemeber is on the back end, uses his ultimate to get up and over the wall. So now he's back to safety, but Grave picking up 2 kills, coming up big.
And what looked like it was going to be in favor of for Noble is actually all Gatekeepers. We've seen this one before.
Yep.
It just depends on how Noble's choosing to bite back into it this time.
Grave really having a big impact there on the back end of that team fight. That's what Susano can do so well, especially with his ultimate, able to pull multiple members, shoot it through the back line, clean up anybody who's low. Now it's Noble, still down about 2,000 gold here to SPL Gatekeepers, just trying to secure their speed buff as, again, Pain and Grave go in aggressive.
That was a great silence from Wubbn, bottoms up a little bit of time, but not able to get away from Grave, and now moswal trying to find the return kill. So much damage, but not finding a home. moswal instead getting run down by MandoWarrior.
And so safe was Grave there, using the Aegis to immune some of the damage and then squeak away. MandoWarrior, though, does end up cleaning up Skeeledon, who also got the return kill as Grave did eventually fall, but that one's 3-1 in favor of Gatekeepers.
Wowy's trapped, having to defend that T1 tower, while Day is free to rotate over, helping out Akilla and Pain and shutting away this portal demon. Wowy, though, don't think he wants to let this one go for free, but Pain, he's got the taunts to potentially stop him. Sure enough, there it is.
Unable to contest that portal demon as well. He knew he'd essentially be throwing his life away if he committed any harder to it. Now SPL Gatekeepers have a real lead here, getting to about 3,000. 9-4 are the kills 15 minutes in, and DayToRemeber coming to establish some vision on the Gold Fury, the next big objective.
There actually isn't any vision presence on this Gold Fury for the moment, but with 2 members of Noble lurking around and moswal being in trouble yet again, but dead before anybody from his team can assist him.
That's what happens when Grave, with his control and the kill of the Hun, along with PainDeViande, meet up in the mid lane, immediately blowing up moswal, the squishy Raijin, and now with the 5v4 and the big mage ultimate from Noble not going to be around, SPL Gatekeepers bring the Gold Fury down to half health. Wowy and Skeeledon are here, but it looks like they don't really want to defend it. the Gold Fury goes down to Gatekeepers.
There's just no way that they can defend it. Pain's right there standing at the helm, stopping anybody from passing, and that's exactly what he needed to do. He needed to be that zoning factor. Speaking of which, Wubbn just barely getting out with his life for the moment. It's going to be Skeeledon, though, taking out Akillathehun.
Surprisingly able to get something out of that is Skeeledon, despite the aggression onto Wubbn. Wowy drops his ultimate on top of MandoWarrior, as well as moswal, pulling him back in with those taiko drums. Wowy cleans up MandoWarrior, and Pain is going to have to back off, but Grave is the one that gets caught out. Now it's 3-for-0 in favor of Noble.
Whalrus with that tiger stun. Nobody saw it coming. Grave certainly didn't see it coming. And now it's going to be Day just forced back as 3 members of his team are still dead. I can definitely see Noble pressuring this T1 tower. They've got more than enough health to do so. Wowy just has to be careful not to expend too much mana so he can still use his 3 for an escape.
It feels like the fights have been going in favor of Noble, but the objectives are going in favor of SPL Gatekeepers. Now their gold lead only about 2,000. Noble fighting back into it, but they're going to need these fights to go their way as well. XP difference also trending back down. Take a look at those charts. This last big play coming out from Noble is what's pulling it back down closer into their favor and evening the game out a little bit more.
And I love that play from Noble because they didn't hesitate. That is such a key aspect for teams to keep in mind. A lot of the time, whenever they find these big kills or there'll be like 2-3 members dead, they don't necessarily pressure the advantage. Noble looking to play a little bit more objective-oriented this game, recognizing that was part of their flaws in the last.
PainDeViande and Grave again playing aggressive, forcing Wubbn to back up to avoid getting more damage in. Right now, the only objective up on the map is the Fire Giant, not imagining that anyone's going to want to go for that just yet. So instead, here, just looking for picks in the jungle. Look at them grouped up. Our SPL Gatekeeper so sneaky on the solo lane jungle, and Skeely might be in trouble.
And it is going to be Skeeledon in trouble. Doesn't have the beads available. Can't even get the shield out in time. Supernova erasing his memory.
Lack of vision is all that was. There really aren't any wards on that side. So when Pain, DayToRemeber, and Grave are just, or rather Akillathehun are just lurking around in the jungle, there really was no way for Skeeledon to know how much trouble he was in, and he gets sent back to base very cleanly.
Noble are winning the team fights, but Gatekeepers are winning the pick war, and that is probably the more important one because it allows them to go for those janky shot calls where you don't really expect. Pain loves doing anything that's out of the ordinary, and calling objectives at the most bizarre times, such as just there could be 3 members present in the mid lane, and Pain's like, let's go Fire Giant. And he'll get away with it probably 70% of the time.
No one expects it, just like Noble didn't expect that blue buff getting taken away by SPL Gatekeepers. I love what we see here, too. In response to that gank on Skeely, immediately a ward drops right down on top of where they grouped up to set it up. So they say, hey, it ain't happening again. Tier 1 tower and solo lane falls, as well as Pain takes a little bit of poke on that duo lane side.
If anything, Skeeledon got lucky that the only thing available at the moment was the T1 tower, with Gold Fury already having been secured. Speaking of which, Akillathehun forced out of both of his relics already, but now that means that Wubbn is susceptible to anybody collapsing on him.
Disapparate form was strong to get him away. Dharmic Pillar's committed to get damage, but now Wubbn's the one who's in trouble. Shield comes out and Grave can no longer commit to the fight, has to back up as Whalrus rotates in on the backside, putting in good damage.
Seemed as though Akilla was ready to back to base and might have had that item store already open. We've all been there, but immediately recognizing as soon as he gets the call out from his team. Defender of Olympus coming through, and now what was once an invade from Noble is trying to be turned into a team fight by Gatekeepers.
moswal up into that ultimate, trying to force out the members, but it's Pain getting the 2-man talk, pulling him back in. Egg is coming out to immune the damage for Grave, but it's Whalrus who's getting pulled back into several members. Still has his ultimate available, though, up on that somersault cloud, but where will he come crashing down?
Anywhere that doesn't have a member from Gatekeepers by it, and it's just going to be the Portal Demon that they have all their eyes on. MandoWarrior with a little bit of Fire Giant aggression, but Skeeledon, I love that wraparound from the backside. Just too much damage before you can utilize it.
Immediately gets turned on. Portal Demon still available. Whalrus very close, unable to stop it. It goes the way of Gatekeepers, and he pays for it with his life. Now it's Wubbn getting slowed out by Akillathehun. DayToRemeber looked like he wanted to go aggressive, but he just backs on up. They're happy to take that portal.
Doesn't want to waste time with the chase, would rather back by and look to secure it. Fire Giant. That is the shot call right there.
That's the strength of veteran leadership like from PainDeViande. We've got the Portal Demon. We've got the man advantage. Go back, get healthy, and let's start up this Fire Giant and force another fight. Fire Giant already down to 60% health. Wowy forced to back up, and it looks like SPL Gatekeepers are trying to bait the members of Noble into a bad situation. Skeeledon wrapping around the back, looking to try and come in and contest. Fire Giant does go down for Noble, but Skeeledon's in a bad spot.
But he got hit by that tether from MandoWarrior. It doesn't look as though they want to aggress any further, though. Playing it safe and instead just grouping up for that T1 tower push in the mid lane. And again, just appreciate the shot calling. And now it's going to be actually MandoWarrior getting ulted by Skeeledon, forced out of his own ult. Wubbn dropping the Darwin Pillars on top of 3, but no kill secures for Noble.
Wubbn hoping perhaps for a harder commit, but the call was to back off. This team that we're fighting into has Fire Giant. No need to take that engagement there in mid lane as SPL Gatekeepers look to not only steal away this red buff, but start up this Gold Fury as well. Already down. Taken away by DayToRemeber.
If that engagement had happened a little bit deeper into the lane, say maybe in between the T2 and the Phoenix, then I think that Noble chase it. But considering how far up the lane that was, even with the T1 tower being there, T1 towers mean absolutely nothing against full build ADCs.
And this tier 1 tower in left, we're seeing how little it means, already getting shredded by the tower destructive power of Akillathehun on Soul and DayToRemeber on Jing, and that's something we haven't even touched on yet. With this comp, they're going to be decimating structures.
And that's exactly what's happening already. Noble just trying to clear away those creep waves, prevent that additional damage coming through from DayToRemeber and Aquila, but not sure how much longer they could try and hold out against this T2 tower siege.
MandoWarrior keeping Skeeledon busy in mid lane by pushing the tier 1, and now the pull in is good. Wowy Ultimate Joe comes down to deter the aggression. Whalrus already has to commit his as well. He's up on that somersault cloud and has to back off.
Whalrus not having his ult, though, means that Noble probably shouldn't be hanging around this T2 much longer. They've got another wave pushing in from Gatekeepers, and with that tower being a little bit more than half health, not sure it's really worthwhile for Noble to stick around.
Pain's taunts have been just a nightmare this game as Wubbn immediately takes 60% of his HP, but Graves the one that's in trouble. Skeeledon trying to chase him down. Grave commits the ultimate and turns it back around, setting up MandoWarrior to start smacking into Skeely.
But Skeely, again, caught by the tether, and now he'll get cleaned up by DayToRemeber. Beautiful slow and burst damage from Akillathehun.
That looks so good for Skeeledon chasing the tantalizingly low health Grave, but in the end, he's the one that gets blown up. Tier 2 tower falls, Skeeledon falls, SPL Gatekeepers now up 10,000 gold, 13-7 are the kills, and it's in their favor.
Susano hasn't been held in the highest of favors since he was reworked a little bit in that passive, but that mobility is still coming into play pretty heavily, just the immediate dash away from Skeeledon.
And he recognized the rotation from MandoWarrior as well, turns around and uses his ultimate to knock up Skeeledon, setting up MandoWarrior to get off the tether and start putting in damage so they could clean up Skeeledon. Tier 2 in mid lane now falls as SPL Gatekeepers pull off the typewriter method and start moving around to the solo lane side so they can take this gold as well.
Still a little bit longer remaining on that Fire Giant. Wubbn and Wowy trying to get as much damage out on the Pain as possible, but he's a tanky Athena. Even at level 15, he just has too many items online for anybody from Noble, or at least for Wowy, to shred through him.
I like what I'm seeing here, though, from moswal and Skeeledon. They realized they couldn't really defend that tier 2, so they're pushing up the waves in duo and in the mid, taking the red buff off the map and getting what farm they can to try and slow down some of the bleeding coming from SPL Gatekeepers and at least push up those waves.
moswal also just really needed that farm in general. With the entirety of Noble falling behind, it just means that Gatekeepers has also been stripping the map. When the map is stripped of all global farm, it just makes it so difficult for an enemy team, even in a defending position, to have any opportunities to really hold off.
moswal is up at the top of his player damage for Noble, despite the fact that Akillathehun was able to get that Ra into Hootie online already. A big power spike item that comes out for our mid lane mages. Is that just moswal getting the damage off on the right targets?
I think that moswal has been getting the damage off on the right targets, but it's also his pen-oriented build. He's got that Spear of the Magus, and he's also got an Obsidian Shard, so it's apparent that he was having a pretty hard time breaching through the defenses of Pain and MandoWarrior this game.
And Pain has been such a nuisance as SPL Gatekeepers clean up that portal demon. I know PainDeViande's not going to be leading any damage charts, but if there was a metric for how often he's taunted people into damage or how often he's forced out beads, then he'd be up at the top of it, really just dictating the flow and pace of the game with that Athena on the support.
And that's exactly what you need an Athena to do. You can't have a support that wants to play super passive. I mean, granted, you can take a more defensive stance with Athena, but that's not Pain's endgame here. And instead, it's going to be the Fire Giant being pulled once more by Gatekeepers, and this is already gone. That's their objective.
MandoWarrior keeping Whalrus from getting anywhere local as SPL Gatekeepers now do carry that Fire Giant. All three Phoenixes are exposed for Noble, and if any of this sounds familiar, it's a lot like where SPL Gatekeepers were sitting in the last set, but Noble put on a spectacular Phoenix defense, and they'll be looking to do that same thing here as SPL Gatekeepers group up on this solo lane side.
They won't have to worry about any of those Thoth ultimates, though, swinging through and taking out 4 people to 10% HP at the very least. They still have to worry about Pain, however. Wubbn already preemptively going up into the silence, trying to prevent it from happening, getting pulled in and knocked up by that Jing Athena taunt combo.
A little bit of poke from DayToRemeber on Akillathehun is all it takes to bring that Phoenix down to 60% HP. This time, Gatekeepers have a lot more Phoenix destruction in their kits as moswal gets poked out. Dharmic Pillars and the Suns come out from Wowy. Now they're going to try and put some damage on, and Grave is very, very low. He has to back out right away. Phoenix still standing on the solo side.
That last tick of the Taiko drums just out of range of taking away Grave's life. Sprint has been popped. The disengage is being called. Gatekeepers just trying to get out after securing the right-hand Phoenix, and nobody from Noble wants to chase him for good reason. They have no way to.
SPL Gatekeepers get what they wanted there. They take the Phoenix. Everyone's still alive. Everyone still has that Fire Giant buff for around another 2.5 minutes. They're going to regroup and look to start pushing again as PainDeViande gets up that blue buff so that he can just have more taunts. He can just be spamming those abilities and continue to be a nightmare.
And granted, that's exactly what DayToRemeber is starting to turn into for Noble. These crits and the consistent crits at have just been shredding through Noble, considering that they're pretty starved of gold right now.
Mid Phoenix is the one under siege now. Hanging out on the side is Skeeledon, looking to see who can drop the ultimate on. Dharmic Pillars one more time pushed out for Wubbn, but this has been so strong from Gatekeepers. As soon as Dharmic Pillars come out, they full-on retreat.
And that's exactly what they need to be doing. No reason to fight unnecessarily, and fighting into Dharmic Pillars is really unnecessary. They can have more than enough time to wait out the duration of that ultimate, and sure, it's got a pretty short cooldown, but not a short enough cooldown to where this fight won't break out.
Two-man taunt coming out from PainDeViande, and the damage follows up right away. Wowy commits his ultimate on top of MandoWarrior to force the retreat, and the health bars for Akillathehun and Grave are very low, but they're hanging around with that Fire Giant buff to try and commit again.
Keep an eye on Skeeledon. He still has his blink available, knowing that Gatekeepers just use a lot to disengage once more. Akillathehun just trying to lock down this Phoenix with DayToRemeber by his side.
Skeeledon blinks in, but immediately gets blown up. Moswal up in the air on the Taiko drums, but not able to get too much out of it as Wubbn gets smacked on by MandoWarrior. Mid-Phoenix now falls, and the Raijin going through, getting a bunch of damage on the SPL Gatekeepers, but they don't care. Now they're moving over. They're backing off, and they said, hey, we want it. We're good.
I want to counter for how many times Grave has escaped at an unreasonable HP threshold, because he has just been taken off and zoom in all around the map, and it's typically at 5% health or less.
That's what Susano is so good at. He's got so much mobility, able to get out of these team fights to go along with the control he brings so well. Gold Fury goes down for SPL Gatekeepers to extend that gold lead out even further, getting closer now to about 15,000 in their favor. Phoenixes in the mid and solo are down. Fire minions are spawning and ready to start pushing in as SPL Gatekeepers regroup, and their Fire Giant's about to fall off.
In the last match, we saw a pretty similar scenario, although it took a little bit longer to reach. Instead, right around the 30-minute mark, Noble already down 2 Phoenixes. So Gatekeepers, they don't even necessarily need that last and final Phoenix. They'll probably look to take it just for good measure after securing the Fire Giant. But either way, all they really need is 2-3 picks at most. And the game is probably theirs.
And the big difference on them pushing in on these Phoenixes this time is PainDeViande on this Athena. Those Athena taunts are setting things up for his team so well. No way for Noble to fight into it the way they did so well last game. And that's without even having to worry about a final judgment. There's no Thothir this time.
There isn't, but there is a Portal Demon for Gatekeepers. As once more, that objective goes their way. Noble doing what they can to push out the fire groups, wanting to have as little of... They don't want Gatekeepers to have the fire creeps to their advantage. And if it means taking that little bit of a risk factor as Akillathehun, just goodbye, Whalrus.
That's a big deal. Now it's a 5v4 in favor of SPL Gatekeepers, and they make a beeline to the Fire Giant, which is just spawning in. MandoWarrior continuing to push up the lane on the right-hand side as he has nothing to worry about. Fire Giant's already been deleted 31 minutes here into the game. Skeeledon trying to push on that left-hand side, but he'll need to be here to slow down Gatekeepers as they come down this weakened Phoenix.
The fact that Whalrus didn't even get to use his Thorns, Sprint, or Ultimate leads me to believe that he just got completely destroyed off of a taunt from PainDeViande.
Right side Phoenix falls immediately. No defense from Noble as SPL Gatekeepers group up here in the mid lane to try and take down this Titan room. They go over to get the left side Phoenix first. They want to make sure this Titan is as low as possible. Wowy already having to back off his Aegis, already on cooldown as well. Look where Grave and MandoWarrior are as they clean up Wowy even in the base.
There was just no escape whatsoever. Skeeledon looking to try and take out Akillathehun, knowing that his Aegis was down. Doesn't make a difference though. Instead getting turned on. Same can be said for the rest of his team. Akillathehun kills another. Cleaning up Wubbn. Now it's going to be moswal falling. Lone survivor Whalrus getting to use that ultimate and his Thorns. Can't save the Titan.
SPL Gatekeepers, they take the Titan, they take the lives of Noble, and they take the set 2-0. That's so big for them, helping them to move outside of that 6th place position as they get 3 points on the day.
And that's a massive point counter for this team. They really needed these wins, and they also needed a chance to still prove themselves as a team. Some people might have had some question marks about how Akillathehun would perform as the new mid laner for Gatekeepers, but I don't know about you, I'm pretty sold on that performance.
Yeah, they will have questions no longer. The one thing you want to know, don't give that dude Thoth because his final judgments are nuts and he'll just wreck through the team fight. But as good as this was for Gatekeepers, it's bad for Noble. They were sitting right in the middle of the pack. They needed some points here today.
Noble is really going to feel the hurting from this one, but sometimes it happens, man. I think that Noble did what they could, and if anything, this will be a great learning experience for them to look at the little factors to improve on.
Well, Taco, you and I could probably talk about this game all day, but we got some guys we pay to do that. Tom, Aggro, let's throw it to you on the desk.
Thanks a lot, my friend. Welcome back to the desk here. My name is Tom, and that's Ryan Battinger. We're going to get things going. 2 games of North America and some exciting results. We see a 2-0 going the way of SPL Gatekeepers over Noble.
I mean, this team, even when they first came into the SPL, everyone was saying, you know, this team's got some potential, and clearly showing it here. Noble still has some things they needed to work out, clearly. I mean, losing MLC Stealth, moswal looked great on the Thoth, but on the other gods, he's had a little bit more struggles. And on the other side of things, the new mid laner for SPL Gatekeepers, Akillathehun, a.k.a. Turtle Man, he had a great performance.
Yeah, Turtle Man looked pretty good. I mean, we saw that one Thoth ult end the game at one point. So, I mean, absolutely, at least accurate. How well do you know Turtle Man? Do you expect more stuff like this out of him, or is this sort of a one-shot experience?
Well, he most of his experience is in the hunter role, so him moving over to the mid role is going to take some adjustment. Clearly, had been working on the Thoth, and that seems to be going pretty well. But he's probably going to need to continue his work in the mid lane to be comfortable enough to perform against the higher end SPL teams, because Noble had their struggles today.
Yeah, absolutely. They could not really find themselves in a successful position. I mean, everything that we saw out of SPL Gatekeepers is kind of what we have come to expect. Athena comes through, fantastic performance. That's PainDeViande. Like, nothing is surprising me out of these guys at all.
They're just solid, and that's usually what we don't see out of Challenger Cup teams. Normally, they've got a gimmick that allows them to win games, or they've got some weird sort of strategy that teams aren't ready for. No, SPL Gatekeepers are just an objectively good Smite game team. They just play the game in a good style. They play it the right way, and teams just are getting beat by them straight up.
And so I like that you picked the wrong word. Anybody that studies language or public speaking, good is not a strong descriptor, but it is because it is so neutral. And I think you chose that intentionally because this team is just so incredibly. They are just good. They are not great. We're not going to see them in the #1 position, but they are certainly better than the rest of the crop. This is sort of the barometer of what you should expect from a pro league team. There might be better or worse, but like good. That's where they are. Hooray.
And there's a lot of players that this is their first time in the SPL. You know, Akillathehun getting his opportunity here, but Grave in the jungle, MandoWarrior in the solo lane. These are guys that don't have a lot of SPL level experience. DayToRemeber has been close, but never really got there.
Right.
This is a team full of guys who haven't done it before, and they are the benchmark. That's how well they've performed.
It's certainly a lot of fun to really watch them perform. Earlier in the day, however, we commentated, didn't we?
Yeah, I know. I've been with you literally all day today. I cannot get away.
It's been fantastic. We saw ALG and Kapow. They wound up with the split.
Yeah, Mighty Storm with the brand new roster. Looks like a brand new team, at least in Game 2. Game 1 was more of what we saw previously with this roster, and they clearly still have their struggles there. Picks and bans in particular was what lost them Game 1, and that's something that you have to really fix. But in Game 2, they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I mean, so this is basically what happened in game #1. Odin dropped the ring, and everybody said, well, we just lose. Take a quick look at okay, never mind. I was going to say, take a quick look at the picks. Basically, Odin was the last selection, and I think you kind of nailed it where picks and bans, everybody on the side of Kapow is like, all right, yeah, we're feeling good. And then Weekend Locks and Odin, they all go, well, I can't get out of the cage, can you?
Nope.
Can you?
Nope.
Well, I guess we're just kind of stuck. And as soon as that sort of reached critical mass, they all hit F6 and they surrendered. It looked like they gave it a shot. They understood that they got outpicked, and then they moved on to game #2, where they looked a lot better.
They really did. Shadow Chair in particular on this Scylla played an excellent game. Final K with Erlong Shen going blink out of the solo lane. He played out of his mind as well. There's a team that definitely has the raw talent. You can see it there when you watch them play. How well can they kind of work together still remains to be seen in my mind, but they have individual talent enough to compete at this level.
And again, no surprises here for me out of at least what we see at a Final K and Vedium. I mean, these guys, Vedium has proven himself time and time again. We're going on season 4. He's been around since season at least 1 or 2. And then we take a look at what Final K has done this year. I've been very impressed with him, and so no surprise there. Shadow Chair. Nice to see a new name. He's a Challenger Cup guy. Nice to see him really perform.
He looked comfortable on the Scylla. Now, in Game 1, the entire team kind of got bodied there.
I think that's a throwaway.
The Vulcan, yeah, you can kind of just forget about that one if you're a Mighty Storm. Game 2, he looked very good on the Scylla, was consistent with the ultimates. His positioning was solid. It looked like Allegiance was going to win until Shadow Chair made this play in conjunction with Final K.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we say it so much that it's kind of become a joke between Tolly and I, but at the end of the day, one Syl ult can actually change the course of the game, and right there we just saw it. And what was interesting was the team was about to win, and he kind of botched it, and they didn't find the win off of that. And then he continues just head up, goes ahead, actually gets the win after that. That's what I like to see.
Just knowing that he's not in his own head the whole time, especially with someone like Shadow Chair who's been in the Challenger scene for so long. It has been close so many times to the SPL, and then he finally gets his debut moment, and then to have that opportunity where, you know, when you miss an ult like he did underneath that Phoenix, you know that you just threw a chance to win the game.
Sure.
That's all that's playing in your head, like, man, if I just hit that ult, we win that team fight, we split this set. You have to be able to get that out of your mind, and for Shadow Chair to be able to do that shows that his mental game is already pretty good.
Nice stuff coming out from the new guys on A Mighty Storm. Let's take a look at how the standings lie after today, special edition Friday, but it is day 1 of week #3. And so Luminosity Gaming sitting up nice on top, E-United #2, and surprising, I think, seeing Trifecta all the way down there and #6.
Well, Trifecta had to play that set without Snoopy, specifically against E-United, so that was a tough matchup for them. They've got a little bit of an easier schedule the rest of the way, and if Snoopy's back and they're at full strength, I expect we'll see them near the top in no time.
Right now we're in our online phase. Later on we'll hit the offline phase, Super Regional, and then of course hi-rez Expo. That's where everybody plays for all the marbles. You can come too. hi-rezexpo.com. It's in January and it's absolutely a lot of fun. You should buy tickets, show up, and make aggro dab.
I still won't do it, but buy tickets. I'd like to see you there, as I'm not dabbing.
Well, that's offline. Online, we have plenty of fun stuff as well. 2 times everything. 2 times the Worshippers, 2 times the Favor, 2 times the XP, and 2 times the dabs on aggro. That's an Ares and a Chalk on screen.
2 times 0 is still 0. So yes.
Well, all right, you got me there. Well, either way, we have a weekend chock full of fun stuff, don't we?
Yeah, I see what you did there with the chalk. The chalk was on the screen. That was solid. Yeah, Saturday, you got 3. It's 4 days total in a row of SPL action. Tomorrow, Saturday, that means we get to see the entirety of the EU SPL in action. And opening up the day with a really big game. That's Elevate, who's in 2nd place right now, I believe, right there near the top, with the #1 team, Dignitas.
And the Poppies versus Energy
is incredibly important. That is a massive game.
Yeah, it's a match first of all, I just want to watch it and enjoy, let alone, but the implications for the standings, very big. Energy down at number 5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken, and the Poppies, number 4, kind of scary. I don't know what's going on in Europe. All I know is that I'm going to be there. You going to be here?
Actually, I will not be.
Oh.
I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
I actually really forgot about that.
Yeah,
I expected
know you did.
the yes.
No, I'm not. I've got to move I've got moving to do.
I don't know how I'm going to recover, actually. Can you send me a text at least?
Yeah, I can text you.
Thank you. So I'll be here. Aggro will be here in spirit, and the rest of everybody. Hopefully you will be here as well. We start at 1 p.m. here on hi-rez TV. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you tomorrow.